Yeah. This is the Legacy League. Tell me what will your legacy be? Yeah.
All right, week 5 is finished. We got a lot to talk about, and especially a lot to talk about for the upcoming weeks. We only have 3 more regular season games before the playoffs. So, awards coming to a close. With the standings, we're going to see who's going to, come out on top, and that's what we're going to talk about this week. So, I'm joined by my boys Jake, DJ, and then first time we got Noah showing up for the podcast. And as always, this post-game show is brought to you by our sponsor, 110 Grill. Without further ado, let's get into our first game. Our first game being probably one we didn't expect to be talking about first here, but we're going to be talking about the top dogs versus the squad. All right, and this was the battle of the 0-4s, and one team was going to come out on top with their first win, and that team was our Top Dogs. Top Dogs took this one 61-53. And leading the way, our very own our boss, Joey Zacco, with 20 points, and he hit 6 threes, got 6 rebounds. Jaron Hansen followed him up with 13 points. Joey really led the way for this team in the first quarter. I think he hit 3 threes right there in the first quarter. So he kind of got them off to that start that they needed to maintain that lead for the rest of the game. That's what they did. They never really lost that lead. It was just a steady increase, of 10 points the whole game. For the squad, looking like the usual suspects there at the top. Dikai Musa, 17 points. Marquise Smith, 15 points, but wasn't enough for the top dogs. And that honestly comes down to 3-point shooting. A lot of 3-point shooters on that team. So many of them have been in 3-point competitions. I think 4, and I think 3 of them have won. So, this was a 3-point game, and that's what changed the outcome, really. The squad shot 2 for 15 from 3, and they've made the least amount of threes so far out of any team. Only 20 made this season across 5 games. Not very good. DJ, well, I'll go right to you. Talk about the top dogs. The squad is like a bigger team. So how did they come away with this win? Facing a bigger team than them.
Yeah, like you said, it was the 3-pointer. Joey was cooking with 6 threes. Squad looking like they're already in Cancun out there with 2 threes made out of 15. Not looking great. Just squad looking like a lost cause. Top dogs really just came out with this one, shooting that 3.
Yeah, a lot of turnovers for the squad. They just weren't playing like they had their head in the game. This was their chance to get their first win. I think this was the best chance they're going to get. Top dogs didn't even have Cody Crawford, their best player, their most experienced player, I would say, in terms of like winning. Cody dropped 33 last week, and he kept them in that entire game. So to come off a game where you got a guy leading you, scoring all your points, to the next week, you got to, this is your best chance to win a game facing the other 0-4 team, and you don't have your top scorer from last week. You're like, crap. What are we going to do? We got guys like Joey Zacco, who've been in the league for a while, stepping up. Jared Hansen stepping up in that third and fourth quarter, sealing the deal. Rebounding, the squad had more. Steals, I think it was about the same. Blocks, I think the squad had more. And it just came down to that 3-point shooting. Not too much more to talk about this game. It was a fun one to watch. 2 0-4 teams battling it out, trying to get their first win after tough starts for both their seasons. But good to see one of those teams ending up on top. So, and which was the top dogs. Shout out Joey. Great win. He actually had 15 last night in Rhode Island too. So he's on fire. 35 points in 2 nights. He's cooking. We'll move on to our second game. And that one will go over B2A FTG. And B2A took this one 103-90. This was a fun game to watch. They were talking. Both teams were getting into it the whole game. Gio Neville led the way for B2A, 33 points, 14 rebounds, 4 blocks, I think 6 assists. He was everywhere tonight. Shy Hicks 25 points, Amande Weaver 22. Those guys have kind of shown up each week scoring, so that's what we come to see. Gio Neville missed a few games last season, and I think he missed the first game this season, but he's here. He's making a statement. He's leading this team, a team that lost to Raj, a key factor in last season's games. Gio's leading the way so far these past few games. I think he was able to do this so successfully though because FTG got into foul trouble really early, and they only had 4 guys, which obviously is going to be tough for them. So for this game to be that close is, I don't know, maybe concerning for B2A. I don't think it should have been this close, and I know they know it shouldn't have been this close. So Jake, talk about B2A. The good team, they got the win, 13-point win, but should have it been this close?
Yeah, so I kind of agree with you there that I was a little shocked that FTG was able to put up 90 points with 4 guys. So I definitely think if you're B2A, that's something that you got to look at and kind of maybe adjust for the next game. Because I mean, they lost the third quarter and they kind of just sat on that huge lead that they made in the first quarter. But I mean, at the end of the day, you get the win, you got to be happy. But some improvements could be made.
Yeah, and I'll just hop right to you, Noah. Talk about like the FTG fight. I mean, they had 3 guys with over 20 points, 2 guys with over 30, 33 from Ethan Austin, 32 from Shane Perico. I think he hit like 9 threes. How do you stay in a game against a full, I think they had a 7-man roster. What mentality do you gotta keep to stay in a game like that with only 4 guys?
Yeah, they did it very well. I mean, Shane Perico and Ethan Austin both had 30 plus. And one thing I noticed from FTG was B2A is always going to bring the energy. They're always going to trash talk you. They're always going to get in your head. But Ethan Austin, at least in the first 3 quarters, wasn't really letting it get to him. He was dishing out assists. And Shane Perico, what a defensive rebounding game. He had 15 plus rebounds, 30 plus points, and I think this is a win for FTG. Not on paper, but I mean, for the rest of the season, getting 90 points with 4 players and getting 30 plus from your 2 best players is not something to hang your head about.
No, definitely. I mean, they were missing Zach Pickney, Denzel Lyles, Derek Stone, 3 big guys. Derek Stone's a big guy on defense, and both the other guys are huge on offense. So if they were there, this would have been, maybe a different outcome for FTG. Teams play down to other teams sometimes. I know my team has, and you kind of play to the movement of the other team sometimes, and you kind of just get stuck in that bucket kind of transition. Defense kind of lacks up when you're not expecting so much hustle from a 4-man roster. So maybe B2A still comes out with a win. Maybe we'll see this in the playoffs. Maybe we'll see a future B2A FTG, maybe a first round. I know they're both in the middle of the pack, so maybe that will be a rematch we see. DJ, I know you want to talk about B2A because you had the Reapers as an upset for them last week. So, this isn't necessarily an upset for them, but maybe it should have been closer. I know you want to talk about it, so let me hear it.
Yeah, I see B2A as like they're 3-2 right now, but they got 3 wins against either teams with no wins or 1 win right now. Talking a lot of talk for beating up on these 1-4 teams right now. They got 3 more games to go, going against the number 1 A1, then Team ASAP, then the top dogs. You can see them losing out for the rest of the season right here, especially if the top dog get Cody Crawford in that last game.
Yeah, this is what they wanted to hear from us. They wanted to hear the talk. So, DJ's bringing that talk. B2A is going to have words for you. I know 100%. This is what they wanted, though. So, B2A, you asked for this. Just letting you know. I mean, yeah, Team ASAP, Team A1, that's a tough 2 games to kind of close out your season. So, we'll see how they match up with those guys. We got them next week. I'm excited for that matchup. So, yeah, we'll go right into our next game. That game being Team ASAP, run it up. All right, Team ASAP took this one 82-65. Short rosters for both teams. Both guys or both teams had guys missing. No Tack Gomes for running up. He's their leading scorer, kind of their leader out there, along with Sean Yard. But Team ASAP, I think in the second quarter they lost Kareem Cooper, who I think might be out for the season with an Achilles injury. I think that's like the third one this season. It's crazy how many people are getting injured out there, but hope for a speedy recovery for him. It just sucks to see guys get injured out there. So, thoughts for Kareem Cooper. Hopefully he gets a speedy recovery. Team ASAP did get the win though. They came out on top still. Noah James leading the way, 35 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. This kid is everywhere, dude. He is a monster out there. Joe Secator followed up with 21 points. For runner-up, Marcus Collins had his 27 points. This was, I think, his biggest game yet, 10 rebounds, double-double. Sean Yard, though, he's usually the guy leading runner-up. Last season, he averaged 32 points, and this season so far, he's only averaging 15. He only scored 11 tonight and shot 4 for 17. So not what we're used to seeing from Sean Yard, especially when they don't got Tack Gomes. I expected him to do a lot better. I expected to be his game to kind of show that he's still here, but he kind of fell off. Going from averaging 32 to 15 so far, there's 3 games left. He could turn it up for these last 3 games, but definitely a little slump season here for Sean Yard. So, no, I'll go back to you. Run it up without their leading scorer. ASAP only had 4 guys going into that second half of the game. What do you think an outcome would be if Tack Gomes shows up and ASAP gets a couple more guys? You think it's still an ASAP win, or you think this is even closer of a game?
Well, I'm not sure if I could give Run It Up the victory here, but I mean, Tack Gomes, in my opinion, is a top 5 or top 3 MVP candidate. And the whole season, he's been the team's facilitator, their energy on defense and on offense. And man, when he gets to the rim, I mean, you have to look out. But Team ASAP is deadly, man. Noah James has been going off this whole season. I think that he's honestly right now my MVP. And even with Tack Gomes, I think Team ASAP is too electric, and I think that they're going to make the finals this year, honestly.
No, yeah, I mean, Noah James, he plays 100% energy every play, dude. Defense, offense, he's running the floor, hitting crazy shots. He's one of the few guys I see, hit pull-up jumpers in this league. A lot of guys just want to attack the rim, dunk, or shoot threes, but Noah's playing very fundamentally out there. You don't see him dunking too often, but when he does, it's fun to watch. Yeah, Jake, I'll go to you. Kind of talk about running up. Obviously you weren't here last season, but Sean Yard, I think, finished second in MVP votes amongst the interns and us. So talk about kind of a slump season. Obviously, he's averaging 15. That's not a bad season. But talk about kind of taking a step back and letting your other guys do the job versus, kind of falling off. I don't want to put it like that, but talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this game, I think Runner Up brought a ton of energy at the start, and it's a very intense game in general. But I think as the game went on, you could kind of see that the air coming out of their balloon, where that energy was just fading, fading, fading. And I think they were kind of looking for a guy like Tack Gomes or someone who you usually would think Sean Yard, who can kind of take that initiative to run the offense and be the guy who they can count on, rely on. And I think just a lot of that goes into next play mentality as well. Just having that self-confidence and not doubting yourself and just going out there and making a play happen.
Yeah, I mean, I like to see everyone do good in this league, so I want to see Sean Yard come out with these last 3 games. Hopefully, maybe he's watching this. Sean Yard, if you're watching this, we want you to just go off these last 3 games. Show us why you're still that guy. Honestly, I think a rematch, full teams, full rosters, I think Run It Up can make this a very close game. I honestly would probably it would be a coin flip because Tack Gomes, when he's playing full energy, we saw that last week against the squad for them. It's tough. He was dunking on guys that usually don't get dunked on, and he's lights out from three. I think he's like has the fourth best percentage, and he's up there for most amount of threes made this season. So Tack Gomes is definitely someone you don't want to play without. They had to this week against one of the best teams. Um, yeah, I think this is a different outcome. I'd love to see this rematch. Maybe in the playoffs. We'll see. We'll see. And yeah, we'll move into our last game, that being A1 versus Reapers. And this was a finals rematch. Last season, A1 met Reapers in the finals. Reapers looked a lot different. Returning face Kevin Views, though, was there last night. But yeah, I think he was playing through an injury, so he was a little slow. And they only had 4 guys to start the first quarter. So they didn't have many guys rotating for them. So playing through an injury without getting much break is pretty tough. But A1, we got Hendel leading the way, 24 points, 11 rebounds. Darwin Perea following that up with 22 points. Angel, 16 points. Defensively, A1 is, I think we've let up the least amount of points so far, just right above ASAP. We both have 5-0 records, so that can be said. But Reapers are known for their defense, and this season it's just not been good for them. They only have ever lost 1 regular season game ever in their first 2 seasons. And at the start of the season, it looked like they were here to, maybe get that finals win. They're 0-2 in the finals. They made the finals every season, and they've lost 3 games in a row. And from coming off of 2 seasons where you've only lost 1 ever, and that was to A1 week 1 of last season. So they were on a streak. So, yeah, they've lost to A1 twice last season, 1 in the finals, 1 in the first game of the week, and now again we've handed them another loss. So yeah, A1, honestly, we after every game we feel like we could have played better. We always think we did things wrong here and there. DJ, talk about A1. Do you think they could have played better in certain aspects? Don't call us a dumpster fire or whatever you're gonna say, but let us hear it.
Nah, I think A1 did great. They shot 45 from 3, shooting 10 threes against Reapers 1-3. Reapers looked good at the start of the season, but they really started to show their true colors as the season got on. But A1 just kept hammering them the whole time. Only letting them get 4 points in the fourth quarter is absolutely ridiculous. You guys got to be going back to the drawing board if you're coming up with 4 points in the fourth quarter. Just stuff that cannot be happening.
Yeah, I mean, a team that wants to get back to the finals and, get that another shot at the finals, you're 0-2, you want that finals win. It's not going to happen if you're scoring only 4 points in a quarter. Yeah, it just wasn't their game. I mean, shots weren't landing for them. Credit to A1's defense. I think we play an amazing on-ball defense, and it's that little zone we do that people can't really figure out too much, or it's just the pressure that gets brought on by Hendel. Hendel's, even if he's not leading the league in steals or blocks, I still think he's the best defender in the league. The pressure he gives, you don't see him getting blown by at all, and he just is a menace on defense. He's always yelling, always making sure guys know, where to go, screens, where the rebound's going. He's always yelling. He's always out there controlling the defense. And you got Darwin controlling the offense along with Hendel. It just works very well. It's like a well-oiled machine. Kind of the opposite of what the Reapers are looking like right now. Yala led the way 19 points, but it was just half of those were off fast breaks. It was just tough for them to score on A1. Noah, I'll go back to you before we move on to our final question. Talk about A1. We got some tough games coming up, and we actually have another matchup against the Reapers. So kind of predict what that's going to look like in a few weeks for that rematch.
Yeah, A1 has been on fire. I'm surprised that they've been able to do everything that they've done, especially while losing last year's MVP, Dante Rivera. But you've got guys like Hendel and Darwin Pereira that are really stepping up in a big way for this team. And it's been great to see. I'll be interested to see what happens when they play the squad because I think that that'll be a primetime matchup. But when they play the Reapers again, I don't see it going any differently, honestly. A1's defense is just really too good for the Reapers and where they're at right now. And if the Reapers want to make any kind of a deep playoff run, Yala Smith really needs to step it up. I mean, he was balling at the beginning of the season. He was putting up some big numbers, but I swear he looks like he's 5 inches taller than everybody else out there, and he's way longer. But still, he's putting up stat lines like 19 points on, I mean, fair efficiency, but on fast breaks. And so I think if the Reapers want to try to get back to the finals or even just win a playoff game, I mean, Yala needs to step it up, and Kevin Views most definitely needs to step it up. I know he was on an injury, but he's got to step it up as well because they got all the parts, but there's no oil in that machine.
Former MVP Kevin Views, we want to see him get back to that MVP self. Yeah, and I think you said the squad. Where actually, I think you meant ASAP. A1's playing ASAP the last. It's going to be an A1 ASAP final week. That's the matchup we got, which I think is crazy. I don't know how Joey predicted the schedule to end up like that, but that's a crazy matchup for the last week. All roads lead there. So, yeah, that will be a very prime time game. That will be a very exciting one. A lot of build up there. Some might say that might be like the finals right there in the final week. We'll see. I'm excited for that. Yeah, I think that wraps it up for this week's games. We'll go into our final question. I know viewers are used to us hearing about that final question. They're also very used to me. I know a lot of guys have been bringing it up, us talking about the 110 Grill here. So always got to give our shout out to 110 Grill. Check them out. Go get some drinks with the boys. Maybe if you get knocked out of the playoffs a little early, y'all can go on to 110 Grill Monday nights. Yeah, so we'll go into our final question. This is around the time, 3 more games. Awards are kind of coming to a close. We're kind of seeing the guys who are up there for each award and what teams are up there for, most likely to win a championship. So I'm going to give the boys a chance to stamp their opinions here. So anyone watching can give them crap about their opinions next week and the week prior, prove people wrong, and we'll have to give you your roses here on the podcast when you do. So I want to hear everybody's MVPs and I want to hear everybody's champions because, making a little prediction early is going to be fun for you to watch them play these next 3 games into the playoffs. So we want to change your mind after this. This is it. This is it right here. All right. DJ, give me your MVP.
My MVP's got to go to Noah James. I think he's the most complete player in the league. Just everywhere. He's just amazing.
All right, fellow Noah, I think I know who you're going to say, so let me hear it.
Man, just like that 110 Grill mac and cheese, man. This guy Noah James just has barbecue chicken all over the floor, man. He's a great shooter, great mid-range, good finisher. He's the real deal, man. And honestly, he could lead Team ASAP to a title, but that's for later.
What a fire way to bring the 110 Grill back into that. I love that. No, you got to join us more often. This is your first week, but I want to see you every week after this. Jake, you don't if you got some 110 Grill shout out pulling out your trick sleeve, whatever, right now, go for it, but give me your MVP.
Yeah, I don't have one off the top of the dome, but I mean, shout out 110 Grill, obviously. And I hate to be boring, but I'm gonna have to say Noah James as well. And like, I could bore you with all his stats, but like, what I love about his game is he does everything with a smile on his face. Like, I think he's just a guy who loves the game of basketball, and it's fun to watch.
No, Noah is an awesome guy. I mean, he thanks us after every week, saying he appreciates us, appreciates the pod. So shout out Noah. I hope he's watching. Yeah, great guy. I hope the best for him. That being said, I'm not picking Noah. I got to pick my guy Hendel. He's leading you got to go Noah James or Hendel, I think. Both the guys leading the way on the 5-0 teams. But my reason for Hendel, I know he's averaging like 6 less than Noah is right now, points wise. I think Hendel is Defensive Player of the Year right now. So if it's a race between two guys and one of those guys is also in the race for Defensive Player of the Year, I think I got to pick the defensive guy because defense wins championships, and I think Hendel, he hit a game winner too. His offense is winning us games and his defense is winning us games. So it's also different when you're playing with him. You just see the impact when he's out there and when he's not. And he's our most valuable player right now. And us losing Dante, even him stepping up, is even more meaningful. So I'm a little biased, if not a lot. He's on my team, so I got to stick with him. Yeah, so you heard it, Noah. You got a lot of guys, rooting for you. Go out there, win these last few games for them. Go out there and prove me wrong if you want to do that too. We'll go into our championship picks. DJ, who you got winning it all?
I'm about 110 grill % sure that Team ASAP's going to come up with the championship this year.
All right, 110%. Wow, that one's not as good as Noah's, not gonna lie. I like the effort though. Noah, give me your champ.
I've been putting some thought into this one. My finals matchup, this is going to make some people angry, and I'm sorry, Cade, but I got Team ASAP taking it over Run It Up. I think that Run It Up, if they get a playoffs rematch with A1, are going to beat them. And I'm saying that because I think Run It Up has some of the best depth in the league, one of the best bigs in Marcus Collins. And when Tack Gomes gets back, he's going to be electric. But can't bet against Noah James. I think that Team ASAP will win this year's finals.
All right, I take no disrespect. That's what we're here for. We're here to make some opinion or get our opinions known. So I'm not expecting everyone to suck up to me. I appreciate the honesty. Jake, hey, listen, before you say Team ASAP, this is your chance to give us an FTG, give us a Reapers, give us someone we're not gonna expect you to say. I want to hear it. Give us a B2A. I mean, they're 3-2. Jake, let me hear it.
Yeah, I want to give you an underdog. I do, but
You don't have to. Don't worry.
this is my final answer. I got to give you who I think, and I hate to say it, but before this week, I would have said Team ASAP, but I think if Kareem Cooper is going to be out with that Achilles, I think that's definitely going to play a factor, and I think A1 is just such a team, and I think they play together. I think that energy is the kind of energy you need to win a whole thing. So I'm going to go with A1.
That is the team I'm going to go with too. So we got 2 for ASAP, 2 for A1. Noah not even picking us to make it to the finals. Come on, Noah. We have never lost a game in the, knock on wood. My desk is wood. Don't worry. We've never lost a game here in a Legacy. So, but I mean, ASAP is easily, runner up for me. I think they're the biggest target. The 2 5-0 teams, the 2 guys on top. And that run it up game was definitely a close one, but we are missing some guys too. So we'll see what if we meet them. Maybe ASAP knocks them out. We'll see. The standings will be more in concrete in that final week. We'll see. Look ahead at the bracket and stuff. There'll be a whole bracket. The guys are used to it. They know what they're gonna see. Yeah. So we got stamps. No turning back, boys. We gotta stick with those guys. So if you're listening to this, if you got this far in the pod, go talk to these boys, thank them, or give them beef. I know a lot of guys are going to be giving DJ some beef, but we heard what everyone was saying. We know people want to hear us talk some trash. We need a Kendrick Perkins here on the pod. Comparing DJ to Kendrick's a bit crazy, but we'll end off going right into next week. So we're gonna look at our next week matchups, and we can quickly make our predictions for that, and then we'll be done. First matchup we got here: Top Dogs versus Run It Up. Top Dogs coming off of their first win. Maybe we'll see Cody come back, getting a win, and Cody come back. We haven't seen a full Top Dogs roster all play at once. So, DJ, who do you think's coming out on top on this one?
I think if Cody comes back the way he played the last game he played, I think Top Dogs could take this one. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, especially if not everyone shows up for run-up, which is always, you never know who's going to show up week to week. So, Noah, who do you think's taking this one?
I got to go with FTG, man. I think they have too much
No,
talent.
run up.
Oh, run it
Run
up.
it
Yeah.
up. It's run up top dogs. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, run it up. Run it up is going to take this one. I mean, especially if they have Tack back. I think run it up can beat almost any team in the league when they're all there. And I don't know if the top dogs are going to win another game this season.
All right, Jake, let me hear it.
Yeah, I like running up in this one because they're coming off a really tough loss. I think they're going to want that bounce back.
Yeah, they've been hearing from us that they're one of the top teams, so they definitely want to come out and prove it. And this is definitely a game to, maybe release some of that anger you got off of last week. Next game is I like this matchup, A1 B2A. DJ, I know what you're gonna say. Just say A1.
I mean, they got in their name. They got one. B2A's got two. So I'm going with A1.
I guess, yeah, Noah.
All right, I'm going to try to remember the teams this time. But
A1 B2A.
I've got A1 over B2A, but I think this game will get heated, chippy. Maybe we'll get another Anthony Cabrera foul out like we did in last week.
All right, Jake.
Yeah, I like a good underdog, so I think I'm going to go with B2A. I think if they can kind of play that mental game and get in A1's head, it's anyone's game at that point.
I mean, yeah, they're a gritty team, and you see gritty teams are the ones that make the upsets. So, the teams that kind of play rough are the ones that get the upsets. But I can't bet against my boys, so I'm going A1. And then our next game, which I think is a really good matchup if everyone shows up, and it's ASAP Reapers. Reapers are supposed to be our, one of these legacy Massachusetts top teams of the last 3 seasons, but they've fallen off here. Coming off of 3 losses in a row, you don't want to lose 4 in a row. And they have MVP past talent in Kevin. Yala's a new guy coming up, but he's kind of, slowed after these first 2 games where he dropped 30. So, DJ, ASAP or Reapers?
Yeah, ASAP's on fire. Reapers are ice cold. Give me ASAP.
Noah?
Call me crazy this week, but I think the Reapers are going to turn it around. I think they're going to pull off the upset.
This would be a crazy upset. I love underdogs. I love upsets. ASAP's right there in the standings with us, so I wouldn't mind seeing them lose. Jake?
Yeah, definitely give me ASAP in this one. I think their transition game is just going to be too much for the Reapers.
Yeah, I mean, if Kevin's full health, it'll definitely be a close game. But Reapers have pulled up some crazy wins late the last few seasons. So people were picking FTG over them. FTG had a much better start to their season last season, a much different roster, and everyone was picking FTG here on the pod. And I was the only guy who picked Reapers, and I said they were going to the finals again. I was the only one, and they did. So I want to see a Reapers upset. Maybe that's me just hoping ASAP falls a little bit to give us that leeway, but I don't think we need it either. Last game, I think this is also a good one. If maybe FTG's down some guys, this is a lot closer than we think it could be. FTG's got the squad. Squad's still looking for that first win. They wanted it this week. Maybe they'll have some mental snap where they're like, we just lost our chance, but maybe this is the next best chance they're gonna get. So maybe this is the one they lock in. DJ?
Yeah, this game's looking like 2 little cousins fighting at like a barbecue, except you got Ethan Austin on one of those teams, so give me FTG.
True. Ethan Austin is the game changer in all his games. So Noah?
Yeah, FTG this season has been insanely good against really bad teams. They had a great game against the top dogs earlier in the year where it reminded me of like Lob City Clippers. I think that there's no chance that the squad will win this game. I think FTG takes it by 50.
I thought you were about to pull up some elite legacy leagues ball knowledge because there's a team in Rhode Island called Lob City that destroys everyone. So I thought that's where you're pulling up there. But no, that game was a good example of FTG killing a smaller team like the squad. So we'll see if they have a full roster. If those guys who didn't show up last week don't show up and FTG's only got 4 guys, I think this could be a close game. Jake, let's hear it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think it's going to be a pretty close game, to be honest, where I think it'll come down to little things, and I just trust FTG more, so I'm going to go with them.
All right. Those are predictions for next week. We got our MVP predictions, champ predictions, next week predictions. A lot said, a lot of maybe some enemies made this week too. DJ's obviously made his voice heard here this week. Yeah, if you made it this far, thank you for listening. Shout out Jake, shout out Noah, shout out DJ. Thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Cade. We will see you guys next week.